Welcome in Concrete Jungle, New York Baseball Podcast, coming to you live from the third floor of the North Park building here on FingerLakes1.com. Paul Russo, Kyle Evans alongside main man behind the scenes today is intern Caleb, featuring Nate Sharman behind the scenes, I guess. He's hanging out behind the heater. Anyway, we're here. We got the hottest teams in baseball, like the most winning teams going on right now, even when they don't win. Somehow. It's glorious. So we'll touch on all that. How's the week been going, though, for everybody? How we feeling, Kyle?
It's going pretty well. By the way, I like your glasses.
Thank you. Thank you. You were at the Finger Lakes Country Music Fest this past Saturday. You would have been able to pick up a pair, you know?
Yeah, I might have to grab a pair on the way out.
Yeah, why not, you know? Nice little logo action on the side over here. Nice and durable, you know? So, future's so bright we got to wear shades. Caleb, how you doing?
Good.
Excellent, good man. All right, I know we start with the Yankees on Monday, so we'll start with the Mets today. So Kyle, you actually hit the nail square on the head with the Mets heading into the series against the Padres. So go ahead,
Yeah, thanks for giving me some credit there.
Still, however, leading the NL East rather, 38-21 now.
That's the thing. They could probably lose 6-7 in a row, and it wouldn't. I mean, they maybe drop a couple games in the standings, but
they're really the main part in this. Where even though they may be losing the games, they feel like wins, and we'll touch on I guess why here. We'll start with Monday's game at 11-5, bashing victory over the Pods. Carlos Carrasco picked up the win. Now moves to 7-1 on the year. Just a shade over 3.5, a 3.52 ERA. Tampa Bay Ray legend Blake Snell picks up the loss. 0-3, 5.68 ERA. Look at you snickering over there. What are you? Come on. All right, you want to know what? I will open the floor for a quick second here. I'm going to do something we usually don't do. I will let you have, because I can tell, rally against Blake Snell. Go ahead.
I like Blake.
What?
I do.
You struck me as somebody who wouldn't.
No, I do like Blake.
Okay.
I do think it's funny, though, that he's struggling this much. Just because, everyone's so high on him. And, I like him, but I don't think he's great by any chance. But I don't know. I don't really have a problem with him.
Okay. All right. Well, your top performer is Cookie Carrasco. 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned, and 10 Ks. He is... probably one of the other guys we should be really actually having the discussion about for Cy Young, as opposed to maybe Chris Bassett, as we alluded to maybe the first couple weeks of the year. But him, a guy that we mentioned on last podcast because who they played, obviously Tyler Anderson of the Dodgers. Now, there are a lot of the sneaky good guys, the ones that don't have the overpowering stuff, but the crafty guys are having really great years this year, which is exciting to see, especially in the day and age of power on both sides of the dish, I guess. Jeff McNeil, 2 for 5, double RBI and a run scored. But the main headline from this game, and justifiably so, Eduardo Escobar, 4 for 5, hit for the cycle, 6 total RBIs, 3 total runs scored. This was a guy, I think, because of the way the Mets offseason kind of played out, ended up becoming an under-the-radar signing. We've said his name now a number of different times on here, but certainly a guy that... all-star caliber anyway before he got on the Mets. Kind of low-key having another really good year this year. Was this the first Mets cycle in 14 years, I was saying, or 15 years, something like that. So, obviously, with a lot of, pessimistic news potentially coming up here, as we'll talk about here in a second, really great bright spot to have a guy like Eddie Escobar really kind of step up. Might have to lead the offensive charge here for the next couple of days, and again, we'll touch on that in just a second.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising after that night. You're thinking, Mets definitely going to get a series win out of this, and injuries happen, and just kind of the offense struggled a little bit, and it's just kind of surprising to see, especially because the Mets, this is only their third series loss of the year, which is just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you mentioned a little bit about how you were kind of predicting it. And we'll get into why here. A lot of the reasons, I'll call it, potentially happened Tuesday with the Tuesday night game. A 7-0 San Diego victory. Yu Darvish picked up the win, moves to 5-3 on the year, and a 3.61 ERA for the Padres. Taijuan Walker takes the loss, 3-2. Still a very good and impressive 3.28 ERA. Again, he did pretty much what he had to do overall. He went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 4 earned, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Just the offense didn't quite show up. Probably just a tick of a run more than what you would hope for, but clearly if they didn't even get any runs across the plate, it wasn't going to make a difference there. And, with that in mind, it was hard to pull anything offensively. Eduardo Escobar did go 1 for 3, had a double in that lone hit, and Mark Canha went 1 for 3. Notably, obviously, Canha did not get the start. He came in for Starling Marte, whose left quad tightened up that game. But good news to report there. We'll obviously touch on that one a little bit more in just a second as well. But also in this game, Pete Alonso getting beamed on the right hand. Yu Darvish, 96-mile-per-hour sinker. Just a little bit too much run. But again, good news with Pete Alonso. More than likely, both him and Starling Marte will be avoiding the IL. And, that's kind of what I mean, right? I mean, they didn't get the wins, but it certainly feels like a big win, kind of given what could have potentially happened, right? I mean, you're looking at, really two, certainly probably the best consistent hitter you've had all year in Marte go down at that point. And certainly your power band Alonso going down at that point would not do well. And we've noted the struggles, right? I mean, the Syracuse Mets have struggled, and oddly enough, they've had a really good couple of days, and we'll touch on that obviously later on in the podcast. But they don't have much reinforcements behind them at that point if those two were to go down. And, you're looking more than likely only having them go down really for a few days at this point.
Yeah, really good news. I was actually kind of surprised by it. I thought even if it wasn't a broken bone or something in Alonso's hand, that he would still land on the IL due to the swelling and stuff. But yeah, that's great news. I mean, he would certainly be probably in my top 5 for early NL MVP candidates. So it would be a big loss if he did miss time.
I know as well, and we'll touch on it more, I guess, when we get to our notes. Reinforcements are on the way for the Mets. Obviously, like I said, we'll touch on that when we get to the notes and then previewing of where they're heading this weekend. As they're on, Nate, what'd you call it? Like the extreme West Coast swing at one point? Like,
Yeah, I feel like they've been on a West Coast swing for like 10 days, but it's only been a week, but it feels like even more than that.
it's one of the weirder ones. It's definitely one of the longer ones I think I've seen in recent memory and stuff like that. So, obviously, it's it's tough. So, either way. And then yesterday, just not a great overall performance. A 13-2 San Diego win. Sean Manaea picked up the win. His third of the year, moves to 3-3, 3.252 ERA for him. A guy that the Mets were really trying to land actually in the offseason at one point, as were pretty much any other contending team from Oakland. Chris probably not getting the Cy Young Bassett, moves to 4-4 on the year, a 4.35 ERA. Again, just a rough spot. Offense was in a little bit of a better spot, I guess, all things considered, but just pitching just did not do what they needed to do. Jeff McNeil, 2 for 4 with an RBI. J.D. Davis went 1 for 3 with a run and a walk, and Eduardo Escobar picked up a hit and a run as well. So, just not well. This is a Padre team that I think they're finally kind of finding their spot in stride. Obviously, first-year Padre manager, Bob Melvin was not, one of the weirder situations where, he kind of gets involved in, was it technically a trade from Oakland to San Diego? I think they had to do some sort of compensation in order to get him, but it's certainly a weird scenario, and obviously the NL West has kind of turned into really a bloodbath of a division, just with the top 3 in the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants. And look, the Rockies and Diamondbacks haven't faded away quietly, I think, like we all kind of thought. I mean, now both kind of are now that we've gotten, really 2 months along at this point. But, they're certainly weirdly teams that kind of are punching above their weight, every other night, which is tough to do in a division like that. So, I don't fully know what to make, I guess, kind of this. I mean, now it kind of puts the West Coast swing at a below 500 mark for the Mets. But that being said, I'm trying to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. The Padres are hot right now. And obviously, not to jump, too far ahead here time-wise for what we discussed, but, they're coming into a 3-game series against an Angels team that certainly is probably reeling, would put it respectfully at this point. And obviously we'll touch on that a little bit more, but, before I guess we really dive into the news and notes of the Mets at the moment, I don't know what your thoughts are, but to me, I'm not really taking this with too much at stake for the Mets at this point. You mentioned right at this point they're playing 500 ball. Again, either maintaining or gapping even more behind them in the NL East. This is a division that at the moment it looks like the Marlins can take advantage of and jump up to second place here within the next week or so. So I'm not too sure again what to make. I guess is the division as a whole, and at that point, the Mets with how they've played the past couple of days, just I'm not concerned.
Oh yeah, me either. I'm not concerned at all. And the division, like I've said all along, I think it's very weak. I don't think the Mets have any competition. Even if a couple teams get hot and win 4 in a row, the Mets have such a big lead right now that it wouldn't even bother them. And like you said, the Angels are just very bad right now. So I think they'll just bounce back with a series win and then head back home. And I don't think we'll ever be really talking about this series after today.
Right. And and that's a good point, right? Because I'll jump into it with the news and notes, obviously. So we mentioned it already. Pete Alonso and Starling Marte both expected to miss IL stints. We'll start with Pete Alonso. He was in the right hand by Yu Darvish, as I mentioned. 96-mile-per-hour sinker. I know, Kyle, I know you being a pitcher yourself, you probably do you subscribe to Pitching Ninja at all?
I do.
Okay, good. Caleb, I know Nate's seen it. Caleb, do you know about Pitching Ninja on Twitter and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've seen a couple stuff.
Okay, yeah. I know he has a field day with this type of stuff, and just watching the run on the pitch that this had was crazy. Like, I'm not a pitcher. I wasn't a pitcher. I mean, what I started watching Pitching Ninja to help me on the coaching aspect of things has now turned into one of my favorite content creators, period. So it was crazy watching the run on this pitch. Obviously, no intent, just got away from him. But Pete Alonso, CT scan came back clean on the hand. Just had it wrapped as a precaution yesterday. No big deal. But he if it's up to him, he said he'd be more than willing to get going again, within a couple days. Obviously, it's not going to happen. I'd expect him probably to be available to pinch hit at this weekend, but I don't know if he'd get any starting time. Starting Marte, his left quad tightened up on him Tuesday. He only had one at bat. But, he said the injury probably appears a lot worse than it actually is, just the way he was walking Tuesday after the fact. Even Buck Showalter said it's probably just more or less be ready to go in a couple days. He'd probably more likely would be in the starting lineup, would be my bet, before Pete Alonso. There's no technical injury designation, so I get to do my first ever Paul Russo injury designation for Starling Marte. Day-to-day left quad tightness, I'm putting it as.
Well done, Paul.
Thank you. I'm here to assist. With that being said, the Mets optioned Adonis Medina, pitcher out of the bullpen. He did really well up in the bullpen. He's optioned back to Syracuse, and the Mets recalled, of all people, Khalil Lee. So we will see if maybe this stint up in the big leagues for him can help him kind of stick around at this point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got into last night's game. I don't know if it was pinch running, but I did see him running back to the dugout.
Yeah, Lee's had his struggles so far at Syracuse this year, and I think not to get too far down a different rabbit hole for a different part of the podcast, I think a lot of it kind of is like the Cade Cavalli aspect of it, where he was probably expecting to be up on the big league roster this year, and
how long until he asked for a trade?
Right, but probably a little bit of kind of had to get through the mental aspect of it a little bit. And I know he's had weeks where he's looked really good, but other weeks where he's just looked really, really bad. Unfortunately, I know he's probably going through. I mean, look, baseball is what is it? Half physical, half mental, and the other half's whatever by Yogi Berra. So, I mean, he's probably trying to work through it. And look, I mean, Khalil Lee's the guy you want to root for. He's a fun guy to watch play. So. You mentioned obviously got a little bit of a run yesterday, so hopefully this series coming up, we get to see him maybe have some run as well. That series coming up, off day today for the Mets as they make the short-ish trip north on I-5 to Orange County to face the Los Angeles Angels, no longer of Anaheim. They are just the LA Angels, I've come to learn. So pour one out for all of us. Yes. Pour one out for all of us youth out there who I think it's really more or less just me who really remember them as the Anaheim Angels. So, anyway, the Los Angeles Angels. Not quite. 27-31, second in the AL West. Losers of 14 straight games.
Pretty hard to do.
Yeah. Joe Madden, most overrated manager ever, finally gets canned.
Ooh.
Yes.
Overrated ever? Most overrated ever?
I mean, he's up there. We could probably have a full-fledged debate podcast on that one. So off day today for the Mets, and then 3 games in Orange County. Tomorrow night, Friday, 9:38 first pitch on the East Coast on Apple TV Plus.
Love the late starts, and even better, it's on Apple TV. I'll have to tune in.
Tyler Megill is back, gets activated off the IL. Really good reinforcement coming in for the Mets, obviously. 4-2, a 4.41 ERA. For the Angels, I did have to kind of plug in here who is expected probably to go, not who is the official going at the moment. They're all TBA, but I went through and kind of followed their rotation a little bit here. If they follow through, he should be facing Shohei Ohtani, 3-4 on the year, 3.99 ERA.
Well, it's a good thing this game isn't in New York, because Ohtani can't pitch in New York.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, I guess, about that.
Mark my words, he's going to get lit up.
Okay, wow, all right. Saturday night, 10:07 start on the East Coast. This one on SNY, though. Carlos Carrasco, 7-1, as I mentioned earlier, 3.52 ERA. He'll be going against a very quiet, good year out of Patrick Sandoval, 3-1, 2.81 ERA for the Angels. Nothing super overpowering by Patrick, but he's having a good year so far, all things considered. And then Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN for the Mets, 7:08, Taijuan Walker, 3-2, 3.28 ERA. Slated, by my projection, to be a familiar face for Mets fans. It'd be Noah Syndergaard, 4-4 on the year, a 3.69 ERA, if they follow through with the rotation as it's been slated. So, that one's interesting. I know I'd love to. This is one of those days where I really wish our guy Josh Sturso would be in here with us so I could just get his reaction to when I said that. But look, Thor's had a pretty decent year, nice little bounce back year for himself. But you want what? I'll go ahead and do it only because I love just watching this team crash and burn right now. I'm gonna go Mets sweep. I think I'll go ahead and do it.
Nope. Tomorrow night, the streak ends.
Wow.
Ohtani will get lit up, but they will find a way, and the streak will come to an end. However, the Mets will take the final 2, I think.
Okay. Do you think the human glitch, Hergert, will rebound?
I don't know.
Got credit for his first loss yesterday against the dreaded Red Sox. So, all right, let's head over to the AL now with the Yankees. First team to 40 wins, everybody. Everybody, nice little round of applause. Nobody?
Yeah, I know everyone's happy.
40-16 still first in the AL East. So they've split the first 2 games so far against Minnesota. Tale of 2 games, which we'll touch on, obviously. Tuesday night, a 10-4 Yankee win. Lucas Ludic. Interesting game, obviously. We'll touch on that to a degree. He picked up the win out of the bullpen, 2-2, 5.14 ERA he goes on to. Loss goes to Cole, not Jerry Sands, 0-2, 8.49 ERA. I had to shout out to a Cleveland Guardian legend there. DJ LeMahieu, 3 for 4, 2 walks, an RBI, and 2 runs. Aaron Judge, 2 for 5, a homer, a walk, 3 RBIs, 2 runs. And Aaron Hicks had himself a little bit of a nice 2-day stretch so far. 2 for 3, 2 walks, and 2 runs on Tuesday. However, Tuesday, probably, it's been interesting, both these games. Probably the worst start of the year for Tyone, maybe, on Tuesday. It's
sloppy
tough.
baseball.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's so much the worst start, but definitely sloppy. Only went 4 innings.
3 errors for the Yankees.
Yeah, he didn't even give up, actually. He only gave up 2 earned runs out of that deal. It's just that obviously they pulled him after 4, pitch count was up, and I guess the modern baseball thinking stuff at that point kind of took over. Safe bet anyway to say it at that point.
Yeah, and this was a pretty tight game until Rizzo hit the 3-run home run. It was actually 5-4 at one point, and the Yankees kind of just pulled away. But that kind of shows how good they are. I mean, they made 3 errors, should have been 4. Tyone didn't have his best start, and look, they still win by 6 runs against a Twins team that people think is not really good. I mean, they're not bad. I mean, they're above 500. They're all right.
They're punching above their weight, I think. But yeah, and then just last night, 8-1 Twin victory. Chris Archer picks up his first win on the year, moves to 1-2, a 3.65 ERA. Nasty Nestor gets the loss, 5-2, a 1.96 ERA. Nestor didn't necessarily look bad, but at the same time, he didn't look great. Didn't have a ton going for him. Offense certainly did not really show up that last night. Hicks went 2 for 3 with a run scored. Higgy had a double, and DJ had a sack RBI. So it's tough. This game tonight will be an interesting, obviously, rubber match game. But this was I guess a very interesting 2-game sample size. It was something that we haven't talked about in a few weeks, but obviously because of the way the Yankees have been playing, but a little bit of like a Jekyll and Hyde type situation on this offense, where if they're off, they really do seem to be off. Again, it's a lot like the Mets. Like, I'm not panicking over this. It's one of those interesting notes to kind of find a spot, especially against a guy like Chris Archer, who hasn't had a ton of run this year, obviously coming back from injury. But certainly the Yankees have had his number at certain points throughout his career, especially obviously in Tampa. So, it's weird because we talked about I guess in a way, right? Hicks obviously struggling, and he's had a really good couple of days, but Gallo picked up, he had a nice little offensive burst on Monday night, or Tuesday night rather. I keep saying Monday night, apologies. But, when the guys that struggle pick it up, it kind of is just like the other parts of the offenses don't show up. Again, I'm not panicking. I just found it interesting of note that that's the case at this point.
Yeah, I think Hicks only had a good 2-day stretch here because he's back in Minnesota, and as we know, he plays very well there. I mean, a couple of years ago, remember that insane diving catch in left center to end the game. As for Gallo, I just think that he's a better player when he's not in the Bronx. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. I think the crowd, just the atmosphere, he just tries to do too much, and I think he's just better away when he doesn't hear all the boos coming down. And I mean, he still does on the road. I mean, obviously Yankee fans travel, but yeah, pretty good stretch, 2-game stretch here. Let's see if they can keep it up. Of course, Gallo wasn't in the lineup last night, even though he had 2 hits the night before. That's Aaron Boone in the analytics, but
that's the front office, not Aaron Boone.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's touch on some news and notes for the Yankees. Is look, their injury list is a bit bigger than the Mets at this point. Aroldis Chapman was supposed to throw a little bit more earlier this week, but the Yankees and him decided to wait until the team returns to Yankee Stadium this weekend to have that session. Still no timetable for the return, but per Aaron Boone, Chapman is pain-free at this point.
Please take a while. Yeah. Take a while. Don't hurry. I'm not ready for him to close games.
An interesting twist in this point of news. Jonathan Losaga, first time I've done that well. Jonathan Losaga, he is dealing with right shoulder inflammation. However, the reason why he left the game on May 22 as opposed to injury was actually to deal with a family matter back in Nicaragua. Obviously, hope all is well there, but that's an interesting point to make. I know Boone is hoping that he is throwing down in Nicaragua at this point, but what that tells me is they aren't too sure when he'll be back then, as opposed to obviously having a timetable with the injury. There is no timetable right now, I guess, at this point, with who has been a trusted arm out of the Yankee bullpen the past season and a half, 2 seasons.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a ways away. If I had to guess, he probably won't be back till like late July. But I don't know. Kind of maybe the same time as Zach Britton actually, because I keep hearing late July, August, and that would be quite the addition right there to get two relievers like that in your pen. Like we don't know how Zach Britton's going to respond coming off Tommy John, but getting those guys back would definitely help. And I do think the Yankees will make a move at the deadline and grab another arm as well. So the bullpen, I think, will be much different later this summer.
Speaking of Zach Britton, he threw a bullpen session earlier this week. Obviously, he is still a pretty big ways away from returning to that bullpen, but first time he has thrown a bullpen in his rehab, so he is making the steps to get there. And as you mentioned, I think the timetable and timeline has kind of shortened up a little bit. I know I think they're still kind of targeting August at this point, August/September, but if he's already ramping up kind of at this point, that's a pretty good sign. It might be a little bit sooner.
Yeah, he's just got to get into minor league games and kind of see how he responds after the outings, and we'll see.
You're working really good with these teases because Domingo Herman should be getting a minor league rehab start soon, as long as his next throwing session, which will be at some point this weekend, goes well, again, per Aaron Boone. So another potential arm coming back for the Yankees. I know we sit very differently on his overall being, but
as a person, he's trash.
It'd be a good piece to kind of get back.
Yeah, as a person, he's trash, but as for a player, welcome back. He's a good arm. I actually think he'll be put in the bullpen, honestly, for a little bit. I think as a kind of like a long relief guy, not really a high leverage situation, just because he's used to starting. But I mean, where's he going to fit in the rotation if there's not injuries?
Right.
So, and I would just not expect him to just be sitting in AAA, but we'll see.
And another good piece of news, Chad Green officially got released that he underwent successful Tommy John surgery over the weekend, performed up in New York. So hopefully that recovery goes well. Obviously, we won't be seeing Chad at this point until some point next year.
As a free agent.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. All right, looking ahead, the Yankees obviously one game left in Minnesota today, the rubber match, a 7:40 first pitch on Yes Network. Garrett Cole, 5-1, 2.78 ERA against Minnesota's de facto ace Dylan Bundy, 3-3, a 5.57 ERA. Like to imagine the Yankees get this one.
Easy win tonight. Easy win.
To quote Zaza Pachulia, nothing easy.
9-3 Yankees win.
Oh, wow. Okay, sticking your flag in the sand on that one.
Garrett Cole allows 1 run over 7 innings.
All right. This weekend, the Yankees head back home as they face and take on the NL Central Chicago Cubs. Cubs are 23-33, fourth in the NL Central this year. Obviously, kind of stuck in purgatory. Cubs, again, their rotations, I kind of had to map back their rotation, kind of project out who it was going to be because they had a rain out yesterday, so things are kind of wonky for their rotation. But tomorrow, 7:05 first pitch on Amazon Prime Video.
So I'm gonna have Amazon Prime Video on one TV and Apple TV on the other TV for the Mets game,
You're having such a fun time.
and then MLB Network on the other one.
For the Cubs, Matt Swarmer, he's 1-0 on the year, 1.50 ERA, the pride of the PSAC. Does anybody know what level I feel like Caleb would know what the PSAC level would be, so I'm gonna leave him out of this one.
Ooh, I don't know if he
You
does.
don't know? Oh, okay.
I definitely don't know that.
Oh, okay, all right. All right. Any guess, Kyle? PSAC, what level?
No guess. I don't want to sound like an idiot on the air.
The PSAC NCAA Division II, part of my alma mater, Gandon University.
Oh my!
Swarmer went to Kutztown, so
Wow,
yeah, graduated the same year I did. Probably saw him pitch actually at some point. So
it's pretty cool.
he'll be facing against Luis Severino, 4-1, a 2.95 ERA there. On Saturday, primetime Fox, well, primetime-ish, I guess, 7:15 first pitch. Kyle Hendricks, 2-5, 5.22 ERA against Jordan Montgomery, 1-1, a 3.02 ERA. And then a Sunday matinee day, 1:35 first pitch on Yes. Marcus Stroman for the Cubs, 2-5, 5.32 ERA for him. Against Jameson Tyone, 6-1, a 2.73 ERA.
That's such a sweep.
I'd like to imagine it's a sweep, but something tells me Stroman will come out and have the game of the year so far
I hope
for
he
him on
doesn't.
Sunday.
But yeah, I could see that as well.
But yeah, I'll throw caution to the wind. I'm with you, Kyle. I will do a fearless sweep of the Cubs over the weekend for the Yankees.
Yep.
Start another 7-game win streak.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Wrap up with our down on the farm stuff. Our minor league brethren in Rochester and Syracuse. Hey, good news. Good news for you, Syracuse Mets faithful. They have moved to sole possession of 8th place in the International League East.
What an accomplishment.
20-34. The Rochester Red Wings still in first, 35-21. Still clear of 3 games over the now second place Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. So, bad news though, Rochester has dropped both games so far in St. Paul, 10-6 and 12-3 respectively. There is a positive. Joey Meneses, home run in each game so far. Trace Berea had a home run in the first game, and Donovan Casey had a home run yesterday. And fun fact, Andrew Stevenson committed his first error all season yesterday. He has been the International League leader in outfield fielding up to this point. Still is, I think, but interesting to note that that was the first error all day yesterday. So, Rochester still, all things considered, still looking really good. I mean, they've been a really nice bright spot. Came out as well over the course of the weekend that the attendance over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Frontier Field last weekend, best 3-day stretch of attendance for the Red Wings in 5 years. Or no, 4 years rather, 4 years. Apologize. So good to see that people are getting out and supporting that team once again. I mean, this was a team that, as we mentioned after the jump, didn't know really what to make of it. They've been struggling the past few years between not only the Minnesota affiliation, but also Washington affiliation. And looks like we have officially kind of turned a corner at this point, knock on wood, with Rochester.
Yeah, winning always gets people in the seats, and it's good to see them doing well. At least both the teams aren't bad. Syracuse, if Syracuse and Rochester were both bad, I think it would be disappointing, but at least we got one good team.
So, some news and notes for Rochester is, this is something we'll touch on once we really talk about Syracuse here. Zach Birdie, right-handed pitcher, was assigned from the Florida Coast League Nationals to the Rochester roster. Lucius Fox was optioned back to Rochester from Washington. Yohan Adnan was assigned from Washington. A name that may resonate with a certain era of player and people. Luis Avilan was assigned to Rochester from AA Harrisburg, and left-hand pitcher Sam Clay was recalled by Washington yesterday.
Yeah, I believe Avilan spent a little time in the Yankees minor league system, and
He did?
remember if he made an appearance with New York.
I believe he did, but he also does have some knowledge within the Washington system. Did pitch with Washington a couple of years ago. So, but yeah, you are right. Avilan was part of the Yankee system for, I believe it was 2 combined seasons, something like that. So, interesting note there. I believe he had been pitching in, I want to say Mexico, but I'm not 100% sure. As for Syracuse, rain out on Tuesday, but they swept the first 2 games. A doubleheader yesterday against Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Game 1 was a 3-0 victory, a 1-hitter combined for the SMets. Tim Adelman started and went 4 innings. Daniel Palka was the leader on offense, a 2-run home run there. Game 2, Travis Blankenhorn had a walk-off RBI single in the 9th. It was an extra inning, obviously, for Game 2. Interesting note, recent add-on for the Syracuse Mets, former Cleveland Guardian legend Daniel Johnson, 5 RBIs in the last 4 games for him, so someone to keep an eye on there. Not a ton of news and notes to report for Syracuse, but outfielder Matt Rudick was assigned from Low A St. Lucie to Syracuse, so it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens there. Obviously, that was a corresponding move with Cooley going up, and then Felix Pena was granted his release from his contract. He is expected to sign with a KBO team in the coming days. But it's been interesting, a tale of 2 different teams here the past couple of days for each team, and roster moves for different reasons as both teams kind of, at the parent level, kind of get things figured out a little bit here for the month of June.
Yeah, it's so weird to see Scranton Wilkes-Barre struggle and the Mets sweep that doubleheader. I mean, I don't remember if they swept a doubleheader this year because they have had a lot, but just seems like a rare doubleheader sweep.
Yeah, and then obviously I know just with makeup, Syracuse also has a doubleheader on against Scranton tomorrow on Friday, so They have a true 7 games in 7 days type scenario, but obviously nothing crazy there. And obviously Rochester, Salt, and St. Paul for the rest of the week. So keep an eye on that stuff. I know, Kyle, you're killing it with coverage of both here the past couple days. So as you have been all year, but I know you've been getting you got a little bit of assistance. So shout out to Rochester and you to that list. Hopefully Syracuse does the same.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anything else to really touch on before we head out of here? I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Caleb, appreciate you behind the scenes. I know you will be manning it fully come Monday for us for pinch hitting, quite literally, for Nate.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it my all. So.
Great work.
All right, Concrete Jungle. We do this thing a couple times a week, Monday and Thursday, usually at 11 or so you can watch live on YouTube. Or at any time, you can catch up on there, listen back on Anchor and Spotify. And we'll see everybody on Monday. Hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. We'll talk to you next week.